Having grown up in the 70s as a child, we watched a lot of Westerns on TV. Shows like Bonanza, The Lone Ranger, The Big Valley, and many more. They were very popular. My favorite, though, and it still is, was Gunsmoke. Matt Dillon just had that presence as a lawman. Always wore the same clothes, had that beautiful horse, and you didn't dare draw your gun on him. Whenever Matt Dillon would capture those hardened criminals, the first thing he would tell them is to drop your guns. He would disarm them so they would no longer pose the threat they otherwise would. After that, he would kick their guns further out of the way and then throw a set of handcuffs at them and make them cuff themselves. If you can disarm the enemy, you are more likely to triumph over them in battle. Colossians chapter 2, verses 13 through 15 reminds us what Christ has done for us in salvation. He has made us alive when we were spiritually dead in our sins. He forgave us all our sins and canceled our debt that we could never pay by nailing that written code against us to the cross. Verse 15 says, "And having disarmed the powers and authorities, He made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross." Through His great work on the cross, Jesus disarmed our enemies. Not only that, He made a public spectacle of them. If we are saved, we are no longer bound by the spiritual powers and authorities who would work to destroy us. We have not overcome them. Jesus disarmed and triumphed over them. I believe this verse pulls back the curtain on some of the things that went on in the spiritual world that we have never seen with human eyes. It says Jesus made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. In the world in which our enemies live, God made sure the message was sent. The devil and his demons knew the law was laid down and the enemy was soundly defeated. Aren't you glad Christ fought for you? Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. I think we got it there. There we go. This thing seems to have a mind of its own in the middle of the night. Yeah, we got it. We're there.
I think we got it there. There we
go. It has a mind of its own, and sometimes it just makes its own changes in the middle of the night, like it's got a little booger bear in there. So we apologize for that. 58 is what I was telling you our temperature-wise this morning as you're waking up. We're going to get to high 74. Rain chances this afternoon between 2 and 3. And then we'll have major rain chances coming in this weekend on Saturday. We should have a 50% chance during the day and a 100% chance of rain at night. So that's what we've got there. Today is already February 11th as we head toward Valentine's Day. Make sure to get your sweetheart, your pictures into our contest. We'll show some of those during the morning show. We're getting a lot of response from that also. We'll show you all those pictures. Voting will begin tomorrow morning at 6. So good luck to everyone. Well, as we begin our headlines that are shaping America this morning, we go to Florida. The first man of the year has been convicted, tried, and executed in Florida. He went under yesterday. He was 64 years old. This crime happened back in 1989. He would kill a traveling salesman. They would start the proceedings last night at 6 o'clock. He would be pronounced deceased at 6:12 p.m., convicted of first-degree murder. Oh, my. They asked him, did he have any last words to say? His reply was, "I'm sorry. That's all I can say, and thank you." That was it. His victim did not get the same treatment, did he? We need to know this. Underway, a manhunt. Georgia, we've got 2 escapees in Georgia that they are looking for. Manhunt underway. They've been missing since Sunday. A 20-year-old name is, and it's not the singer. I know that you're going to think it right off. His name is Ricky Martin. not that guy that was at the Super Bowl a few years ago. And also a guy named Contavious Holmes, 21, escaped Sumter County Jail around 9:30. And again, that is in Georgia, not in Alabama. There, when we say the word Sumter County, I want to make sure you understand that. We don't know the meaning of this. And Odie, I don't know if you've gotten a memo on this from your office yet, but El Paso, this is serious. All flights on hold for 10 days in El Paso. I'm talking about shut the airspace down. And all they're telling us is it's for security reasons. Now, shutting down a major airport, hubba. Something had to be going on. We don't understand. They have not told us anything other than all flights shut down. El Paso. So if you're having to rent cars, I imagine renting cars are a big thing right now going on in El Paso, trying to get out of there. They're probably hard to get at this point. So that's what we've got there. Good morning, LaWanda. I see you're up. Mark as well. Somebody going in, prayer. Chet said that one of his friends is going in for a heart cath this morning. We send out prayers for that. Serious stuff there. Let's see. Nothing like the Good Samaritan, is it? We go to, where did this happen at? I want to make sure I got it. It was in Florida. Woman had a car wreck. We've seen this a lot of times. It submerged. She was pregnant. She was pulled out. And a few hours later, she gave birth to a baby that was fine, perfect. Had it not been for the Good Samaritan that came along, it might not have worked that way. Glad that worked out. Now, as I was getting ready to go to bed last night, take me a nap, it was all unfolding there as we looked at what was going on with Nancy Guthrie. As you saw, there was SWAT teams leaving. Anybody see that? We would hear right before I went to bed, I did hear we've made an arrest or detained someone, I think was the word that was used. We would find out later in the middle of the night that that detained person was set free. They served a search warrant from a tip, raided a house, and there was nothing there. And this guy's name is Colin Rugg. You can go to Twitter and take a look at this as he points out here. Here's the mother-in-law, and he interviews her. This is CNN. And she goes, it was my son-in-law. She goes, he delivers FedEx packages. She goes, he's innocent. He ain't done anything. They let the man go. Do they have a clue? And be thinking of this. I want to talk about this morning on the 7 o'clock show. I think most of us have seen the video of the stranger at the door wearing the mask. You can see the eyeballs, and that's about it. Is it man or woman? I've heard both sides. Be thinking on that. We'll talk about that coming up during the 7 o'clock show. How good are you at this? We'll see, because they will catch this person. They will. Let's see. And I don't understand this. Maybe anybody can watch this, but the money they're asking, I think, for $6 million in crypto, $300 was taken out of the account. Can anybody look at that account? Is that public? Because I don't know that. But $300 was withdrawn. That's not a large amount, and that definitely was not what they were wanting. But it was seeing if the account would work. $300 missing from it. Lots to learn on this. I got a note from the Jimmy Rogers Festival yesterday that the monks had arrived in Washington, D.C., and they received some shirts. I hadn't had a chance to put up the picture, but if you'll remember when the monks came through Meridian and on into Alabama, they finally made it to Washington, D.C. I'm glad that's not me that had to walk that far. Too cold for me, but they have arrived if you were interested in that. Now, I don't agree with this, and I think it has, we can agree to disagree, I believe, on this subject is the best way to word it. Did anybody see the video, I don't know, was it 6-8 months ago, to where it was 6 Democrats that told troops to defy orders from the president? Mm-hmm. Well, those 6 was brought before a grand jury in D.C. The grand jury in D.C. decided not to indict those that said to disobey orders. I think if that was held in Alabama, that would have been a different outcome. That's my 2 cents on that. But nothing's going to happen. They were not indicted in a Washington, D.C. courtroom. A little bit different way of thinking due north of here, is it not? What will happen with this? We'll see. Trump has ordered 100% release of all files that the FBI had related to Crossfire Hurricane. You go, well, what is that name? That is all documents, if you will remember, Russia, 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 and more Russia. Remember all of that? He has signed authorization to release all of that to the general public so people can see what was done behind the scenes. I'm not going to lie, I don't even like the word Russia anymore. We heard it so many times on television, did we not, in the news? My. And here's something I've not really thought about. In the age of cell phones, do y'all remember as a kid, probably as a teenager yourself, where you would call a girl, ask her out on a date, and y'all would go? Look at this. We go to Twitter on this one also. And I want y'all to look at this decline. It makes sense since this has come out and it's popular now where you can contact someone. But y'all look at this. This is seniors. Look at the decline in dates. They have just basically stopped. People don't go out on dates like they used to. The movie theaters, I guess, aren't as popular as they used to be. Some still do, but there's a lot that don't. I guess it's called online dating now. Is that? I guess that's the word for it. And now adults are doing it too, don't get me wrong. Especially those who, as the word reaches a certain age, maybe that's the word for it, as you get older, your circle of friends, you don't get out as much and you put a picture on and people contact you. It's the rave, I guess. Let's see here. We go to the University of Maine. They do them here, career days. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they invite, broadcasting on my end. He'll show emergency management. The police will be there. Well, the University of Maine has disinvited, I guess is the word, because they deleted them from the page. Customs and Border Patrol. Kind of ugly and rude, wasn't it? Isn't that getting money from taxpayers? I think most of them are. But you needed to know that. We hinted at this last week, Eddie Bauer. It's official. They have filed for bankruptcy and 180 stores are set to be shuttered. 180 of them across the U.S. of A. Eddie Bauer at one time was huge. I even remember him having, do y'all remember the Eddie Bauer Lincoln and the Ford Explorer? Yeah. Those were the high-class vehicles back in the day. Now, I haven't tried this, and I'm not sure that I would, but Mickey D's, McDonald's, one of the most famous names that are out there. And I saw a tease about this coming, but I didn't realize it was going to be such a hit. The website was shut down. McDonald's McNugget caviar kit sold out instantly, and the website crashed. Go figure. That's big, I guess. Okay. I'm just not a caviar type person.
I ain't a fish kind of person.
Isn't that raw?
With fish eggs.
It's fish eggs. I'm sticking to catfish. It's cooked and filleted. I don't have to worry about bones. And I know people eat this stuff, and I ain't eating no raw oyster. Let me just tell you, I ain't doing it. They're slimy. If you've never noticed an oyster. Fried oysters is the way to go. Just passing along some information on that so y'all will know. It gives me the willies thinking about that. Let's see. New bill in Tennessee. Now, it's gone before the House, and it will take a while to get through the Senate and then become actual law if it does. I fear that it won't happen, but it has hurdled past one. A new bill in Tennessee threatens to strip funding from local governments if they don't verify public aid applications, immigrant status report, and then report it to the office. What that means is they would have to make and verify that a person is a U.S. of A. citizen before any funds were given to anything. That only makes sense. There will be those that fight that. It's plain and simple. U.S. American citizens put into the pot. You shouldn't be able to receive or vote or anything unless you are part of that group. It's like going to a private club, so to speak. If you don't have a ticket, you can't get in. What is so hard about that? Arizona, on the other hand, as we continue this subject, has passed Secure Elections Act requiring voter ID and banning foreign money from being donated. Whoa. Now, I found this also on Twitter. And for those that are going, oh, it's not fair. Do y'all realize there are at least 72 other countries? Let me show you this. 72 other ones there. There they are. Fox put that up there. That require proof that you're a citizen of that country before you could go vote.
What a novel idea.
It is. It's the craziest thing you've ever heard of. We are the world's biggest superpower. What is the problem? It's simple. 1 + 1 = 2 and doesn't equal 3, as some try to fool you with. Oysters are like boiled okra. Well, I know there's a lot of people who love okra too. I'm not a big one on that. Just my 2 cents on that. We may have to talk more about this later also. And there's been so much talk about the Super Bowl. We've got the numbers. We can go in and tweak this. But someone has finally went forth to the FCC and said, look, this was not right. Now, I didn't watch it. A few of you didn't. Some who did. Apparently, there were a lot who did. It's not as big as they would lead you to believe. We're going to look at those numbers. But during those lyrics of Mr. Bad Bunny, whatever his real name is, they were explicit. And they talked about sexual acts and other things that did happen. Someone has filed a formal complaint with the FCC over that. And it should be. Now, let's get into these numbers if I can get back to my place here. At one point during the Super Bowl, something got up to 137 million, but the actual halftime performance that ran from 8:15 to 8:30, a 15-minute window, there were 128.2 million people that watched that. Now, you're going, well, Kid Rock didn't get that many. You're right, he didn't. Here's the breakdown of what we got. Bad Bunny's performance ranks the 4th highest. It knocks out a few other people. Let me see who is going away out of this. Rihanna and Katy Perry will fall now. Your biggest performance ever, and I didn't watch this either because I didn't understand it. Remember the guy from last year, Kendrick Lamar? He had 133.5 million people watch that Super Bowl outing, his halftime show. Number 2 was Michael Jackson. I really would have... Maybe the Super Bowl, the way I read this was when Michael Jackson done the Super Bowl was when they really discovered the power of the halftime show. It garnered 133.4 million in 1993, and it would take to 2025 before that record was broke. Coming in at number 3, Usher. He had 129.3 million in 24, and Bad Bunny fell short at number 4 at 128.2 million people that watched the Super Bowl. Now, we're already hearing from Turning Point USA. They felt that went well next year. They're already planning on a halftime, an alternative to those who don't watch it. Which brings to mind, there's a lot with the NFL that we all don't agree with now. New rules. They seem to disrespect the American flag. Wasn't there another league at one time that tried to go up against them and it was shut down? I can't remember what it was, but is it time for an alternative, something opposite of the NFL to where you don't have to watch this disrespect of America? Is it time? It would cost a lot. We all know that. My, oh my. That's what we got on the numbers of Super Bowl. We'll be right back with your weather forecast this morning.
For over 40 years, you've been able to count on Watt Equipment in DeKalb, Mississippi. They've got your Massey Ferguson's brand new 23 up to 135 horse cab and air tractors. They've got all your hay equipment needs, all your bush hogs. If your tractor needs it, they got it. Also remember, they service all makes and models, whether it's green, orange, blue, red, or yellow. They can get your parts in, they can do your service on your equipment. Don't forget Watt Equipment, DeKalb, Mississippi.
Welcome back. Let's take a quick look at radar before we get heavy into this morning. Yesterday morning, we had a lot of fog in the area. It's looking better as we go to Doc's Toyota radar here. We do have showers up in Tupelo. We had a little bit this morning here floating across Lauderdale County. That's all moved to the east there. Around Huntsville, if you're headed toward Nashville, Murfreesboro this morning, anywhere north of Birmingham, you're going to get into showers. And east into Georgia, Valdosta, Brunswick, even Dublin getting wet this morning, and Macon, Georgia. Now, we got just a blurb here, something going on here in eastern Lauderdale County. That was heavy showers earlier this morning. Maybe heavy is not the word for it, but a sprinkle or two in that area there. Back west of us, we still see a little bit of fog down around Lafayette over to Beaumont if you're going to be in that area on 10. There in Louisiana, headed into Texas there. Be careful, be careful. Jasper, Texas, and up here near Bonware, Texas as well. Lake Charles has got some fog, and New Iberia. Some showers around Little Rock, Arkansas, and up through the Carolinas we see as we look at snow. It's going to be on up here northeast of Detroit. Nothing bad there. We do have a few out in Boise, Idaho, east of there in Idaho, getting some Idaho Falls, getting some snow showers this morning. I'm glad we don't deal with that on a daily basis, aren't you? It's nice and fun for a day or so, but boy, it gets old quick. All right, let's get into our forecast now and find out what the weather holds for us.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Those record highs and lows back in 99, we had a warm day. It was, 82, somewhat 27 years ago, believe that or not. Woo, woo. Time is a-flying. 2011, it was 14 today. Wow, how times change there. Here's the forecast for today. We'll get to 72 is what the National Weather Service is telling us. Could bump to 74 as the National Weather Service adjusts this. We'll see 67 around Columbus, and that chance of rain up here around Tupelo as we were looking at radar just a moment ago from there up to Iuka, back over around South Haven. If you're going to be in Tunica, there's a chance of a smidgen of a shower later, not much. As we go down to Vicksburg, 71, 75 in Natchez, and we should see 70 there in Gulfport. By tonight, not bad, 42 in Meridian, a little nippier than it was last night. Northward, we'll get into the 30s as you get to Columbus Air Force Base. 35 there at Tupelo, and even 33 there around Iuka. Over in Clarksdale, the Delta, about 37. And as we get into Louisville, you could see 39 tonight. 54 on the Gulf Coast as we look at that. As we go to Bama, 72 in Demopolis. We'll see 64 in Birmingham today. About 10 degrees difference there, isn't it? And somewhere around 74 there in Montgomery. Not bad at all as you look at it. We see that there is a huge warming trend coming from Texas, making its way across and should get to Mississippi in a few days. Now, let's dig into this 7-day forecast of what we know so far. 72 today to 74, depending upon where your boots are standing there. A 30% chance of showers after 2 o'clock. It's not major, but a 20% chance there. Tomorrow's high, not quite as warm, but still up there, 68 down to 45. Tomorrow night, by Friday, we get a 70 for a high and 53 for a low, only a 10% chance of rain. Here's where we're going to get wet. During the daytime hours on Saturday, we'll get to 74 with a 50% chance of rain. As darkness moves in, we'll bump that 50% chance of rain to 100% chance of the wet stuff. As Sunday morning rolls in, still 70% chance of showers lingering there and diminishing by the time we get to Monday with a high of 70. Look at this, 73 next Tuesday. This is definitely May-like weather. Warmer than April, I think. As we get into Wednesday, oh my heavens, 78, 79. That hot front that we looked at that was in Texas is slowly making its way here, bringing nearly 80-degree weather by the 19th and 20th of February. We'll still be at 75 the 21st, and we'll hovering somewhere between 68 to 70 on February 25th. Oh, groundhog. He ain't done so well so far. It ain't over yet, don't get me wrong. As we look at this, here's what we've got today with the wind. As we head out to go fishing today, southwest wind 5 to 10, becoming north by this afternoon. 5 to 10, gusts aren't as bad. Major times to fish today begins at 6:20 until about 8:20 today. Now you'll get another chance, a minor time this afternoon from 11:40. Let's call it high noon to 1. How about that? That'll be right at it. Sunrise happened at 6:40. Sunset will make it all the way to 5:37 this afternoon. The days are getting longer. Daylight's getting pushed back. I can actually see daylight outside the window now. Looking good. Lots to do there. Already 6:56. We're going to be right back in just a moment as we'll get into the morning show. We're going to take a quick break. We got coffee stirring. Y'all buckle up. It's going to be fun. Lots to talk about. Join us at 7. Here's the Scotty Ray Report.